My name is Joe. I'm a radio volunteer at the Bridge Wireless office at HMS Belfast. Morse signals. That is just a continuous wave, but it's either there or it's not. That's the dots and dashes. When there's nothing, well, there's nothing. When you can hear the beeps, it sends out the signal. I have several young people who come here and say, what is a radio? They just don't know what a radio is. And somebody sitting with a microphone sending out electromagnetic waves is being received by this piece of electronics. They say, to them, electronics is something you go to Tesco and you buy from the shelves. Yeah? But how do you develop it? How do you make the next generation? I now ask, is there anybody on this frequency? Because I don't want to disturb them. No answer. So I can send CQ. CQ is the code for seek you. It means I want to talk to anybody who wants to talk to me. That's an engaged frequency. There's somebody there. He answers a German station now. We have him. So I say TU for thank you, and then 73, because we had to make it fast, because there's a queue actually for talking to him. It's a very rare station with a special call sign. I started as a radio amateur as a teenager when I was 14, and like many people of my age, we started with a crystal receiver. It's magic to get from nothing to get music in your ears. And I found that fascinating. I disturbed everybody's television at that time because there was no real protection of these things. But I had contact with, well, I had the most incredible contacts, really. We have to understand where we're coming from. If we don't understand that in national terms, in political terms, and in manufacturing and electronic terms, we are just robots. We receive something and then we use it. If you don't understand your history, you don't know where you're coming from, and you certainly don't know where you're going. And you're bound to repeat the mistakes that we have all made in the past.
My name's Jeff, and I'm on the management committee of the Ivy House Community Pub. I've been drinking in here for 35 years. It's the years of what I've drunk in here where I meet all sorts of people in here, people I didn't know. I probably pass them in the street dozens of times. You never say hello, do you? You know. But in a pub, you kind of close that curtain behind you, don't you? And then you're in a room, and it's just kind of an automatic thing. You say, hi, hello, how are you? And the next thing you're talking to people and getting to know them. It's how I met my dear friend Charlie, who sadly died recently. 36 years ago in here, I walked in and we just happened to get talking, as you do, and we've remained friends all them years. I think because of what it is, it's a bit of an icon, the pub, and it's community run. We're a non-profit making organisation. and we bought the building, so we own the building. It's the first one in the country of its kind to have done all that. It's not because it's a pub, it's a community pub. That's what we are. We are a community pub. And that's that word, community, and that is important, I think, to all of us, you know. It's that kind of camaraderie, you know, where you meet people, and people from all sorts of walks of life, you know, people in all sorts of jobs and different aspirations of what they want, and that's, you can share all that within here.
I'm Peter. I'm the chief projectionist at the Rio Cinema in Dalston in East London. I got into it accidentally, although I was always interested in films and cinema, and like going to the cinema as a kid, and then became interested in the film as film. And I remember going to the cinema and first being captivated by the beam of light that was coming out of the projection room, which you don't get with digital, and thinking that this is where the magic happens. Film actually was constant, and the way of showing films remained exactly the same, you know, for over 100 years. And it was also something that was seen by hundreds and millions of people, when cinema was, in fact, when people went to the cinema 3 times a week rather than 3 times a year. It's part of social history. There is this thing about the projectionist as the invisible, so the aim was, in fact, to make yourself completely invisible, to make sure nothing went wrong on the screen, which was much more difficult when you had to go from one projector to another projector. Films used to arrive on 20-minute reels. They started off on 10-minute reels, and then eventually they were delivered in 20-minute reels. And at the end of each 20-minute reel, there are little marks in the top right-hand corner. If the changeover cue, as they're called, appears in the top right-hand corner, something clicks, and I have to wait for the next one to appear 8 seconds later, which is how the magic was achieved by the projectionist, by just watching for these little dots to appear. 60 years ago, there would be 3 people actually working up here at any one time, and 10 years ago there would be 1 person working up here, and now often there's nobody working up here.
I have an interest in nature, you know, in conservation, and I have done since I was a child. So, you know, if you're interested in cars, you'd read books, you learn about all the new models that are coming out. If you're interested in boats or trains, you know, you do research, you read, you talk to people, you get sort of verbal knowledge. But, you know, I have a passionate interest in our own nature, you know, our own wildlife in this country. Yeah, well, go for it. Yeah, just you know what to do. It came over in the wind. That was it, the wind. And then that one goes straight down the middle. Turn it off now, Mark. Turn it off. Brilliant. 2 years' time, this, along with all of the nettles, all the brambles, all of the sort of the weeds, all the stuff that we cut down, will turn into compost, and then it's given away for free to schools, because soil in London is a commodity. It's really expensive. It's like £200 for less than a tonne to buy it, to have it delivered in central London. So this will all break down to form compost, so nothing gets wasted. You know, it all goes round in a big circle. This little spot here, Tower Hamlets Cemetery Park Nature Reserve, is well, it is the haven in the East End of London for wildlife. This plant here, yeah, this is another plant that we've used. This is called soapwort, and this produces a saponin lather, so which we would use for cleaning. It's still used today. So I actually wash my hair with this. It's so I will wash my hair with that tonight, 100%. All of my volunteers are all ex-addicts. They might have been crack cocaine addicts, heroin addicts, alcoholics, people with mental health problems. But going back to working with nature, which is what I did to start the project, it healed me and it heals everybody that comes and works with us. I think this is a wonderful place to be buried. If I die, I'd like my ashes to be scattered here. You know, it's a place that's given me so much joy and peace and tranquility amongst, yeah, all these dead people.
My name's James. I'm a volunteer on a coal-fired tugboat. When I was younger, I used to take things apart all the time. Once again, like pretty much the story of any engineer, never went back together again. It's all a learning curve. You learn from your mistakes. And I just enjoyed taking things apart to see how they work. Something like these engines, you can see how they work because they haven't got the modern day safety precautions where they're encased and held behind layers and layers of like sort of tape as such. It's all there, this is what's there, that's what you've got to use. When we're out on the river, quite often, a lot of the time, the skipper will just allow us to have a quick go on just sort of having a steer. Great fun, because a lot of people go, oh yeah, I can steer that, not a problem. But they'll overcompensate and get impatient, and you just got to allow time for her to move. And a lot of people don't, so it's just move it, wait for her to respond, move back, and you'll be absolutely fine. So it's all about taking your time. I've had a little bit of a go with the telegraphs, but the skipper is quite sort of, that's his role to play with those.
When you look at it, if you're on the wheel, gazing out at muddy brown water for 9 hours,
nice cup of tea in your hand.
It's pretty boring. The thing that breaks the boredom is the cup of tea. Whereas if you're in the engine room and you've got that engine running there, you sort of like work the engine, you just sort of like back the steam off, or back the valve gear off, just to sort of like tune it and get it running just right. So for me, that's the reward. Other people have other.
That's what we work here for.
That's the reward.
That's the icing on the cake.
That is the icing on the cake.
Through the winter.
And we work bloody hard for those few hours that we're out with it, but we love it.
The passion of keeping the heritage going, i.e. this is a unique steam
It's the
tug,
love of the boat.
and if we don't put these hours in and preserve it, we should just go to the scrapyard and be finished. So it is, as you said, the love of the boat. Keep the heritage for the next generation. It's coming along, hopefully.
By picking this sort of information up now, I'm actually getting the chance to speak to people, pick up knowledge, pick up experience.
There's not a lot of people, but there is people out there that are still passing this knowledge on.
That's the way it's going to continue. If nobody is interested, I mean, that's how things die away.
It creates that sense of community, which is what we are all about.
But I wish there were more people who did that.